So part of it is that some of you still need to do some stuff on the skin. I still need to do some stuff on the skin here. So I'm going to do a little of that. And I'm
What,
going to
tone it
start
down?
the spaghetti.
No.
I'm going to start the spaghetti. So, and here's the thing. Yeah, you've got this plate. By the way, she did a beautiful thing here in that in the photo, this plate is clear. And she put the clear plate in because, see, you have a rounded table here. And I got to think, because I was going to simplify it and take that out, but I got to looking at this just now, and I think that this adds better interest to it, and we should do that.
Actually, she's got her hand on the other side.
She has her hand on the other side, but I left that hand out because I thought it
agree.
looked like it was growing out of her chest.
Yes.
Okay, so to start this, let's just loosely paint in a spaghetti area. And that is really, when I say loosely, I mean just that. I've got some little lines down there. That's part of the spaghetti. You know, you could put a few dabs. You could even splatter the area if you wanted. Messy spaghetti. So let's come up here. And what I want you to do is, I want some whites still left there. Of course, here you've got a lot of other area you're going to do things to. But I want some whites left there. That spaghetti looks a little
Unedible.
dirty.
Well, do you have any red sauce on it?
No, but it could go that way. It could go that. Oh,
Is that
there.
what you did?
Huh? Yeah.
Is that what, that's your meat sauce? Is that what that is?
I don't know. I think that's just what is that meat sauce? Did you put meat sauce on yours?
I don't have any red in there.
All
I
right.
just
No, you
got
have
it in
brown.
Yeah, you don't have.
It just kind of goes through to the plate.
I just
I'm not
Well,
sure
Dorothy
it's
turned it in. She said Dorothy said meat sauce.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure whether
I
you
was
meant that
actually
for
gonna
meat
dye it
So-
sauce,
little
'cause I
dark
could put the
lines.
shadows too.
Here's the thing. You could do a nice, neat line and leave a highlight on the edge of the spaghetti and all of that. I just would not do that. I think, if anything, it'll just make the spaghetti look stringy or something.
It is stringy.
It is stringy, but I don't want it to look stringy. So I'm just putting little blobs, but I'm not entirely filling the spaghetti. I've got some edges, some bits of white twinkling through. So if ever something needed twinkles, it's spaghetti. Twinkle your spaghetti.
Get some coffee. Keep listening.
Because we lost their earring.
Not that I have
I don't know if it was sauce or not, but I don't know.
Okay. I can't edit that out of the tape. All right. So something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back and let's look at skin for a little while. I don't know where everybody is on this. And I should, wrong color. Just a miss. Breathe. Okay, let's get coral. Oh, let's get coral, and because we're putting in some shadow stuff, maybe I'm going to use a touch of New Gamboge, and just to get it a little darker. I do not want this to begin to make it look brownish though, but I'm going to add in a little bit of raw sienna. But I want it to be really red. Now I know some of y'all have lost the red, and so you're going to have a little different effect. Because some of you lost the red because you didn't get a preview of where this was going, or you would have understood. So let's just look at the photo,
Oh, okay.
and let's see what we can do to make this. If we had punched out a little hole there, this would be so much darker than this. And you look at Sandy's, one of the reasons that Sandy's pops too is that she has some darks in there. So let's use this mixture. And here's the thing, if you don't go real dark all at once, you're a little safer because this is relatively new to
Well,
Alana.
I didn't do that. Well, maybe I did.
Well, you didn't need to because the way you worked. So now I know it looks like someone cut her throat. You know,
Tempting
it's
idea.
Just, well, that would account for the
No, it looks
red
like a
spaghetti.
shadow.
Yeah. So
Very red shadow.
here we go. Let's just put in.
Blush.
I'm back to using this small brush, and I have a couple for loan here. If anyone wants to use one of these, this is that silver brand.
Would you sell one?
No,
What
I
is-
need 'em
what-
to loan out.
Silver brand what?
this is silver brand. This is a number 4, but a 6 is great.
Oh, okay.
At some point, I think I thought I didn't have one with a
Well,
point.
silver brands are the ones we started initially out with, right?
Well, yeah.
Oh, I haven't bought anything.
So let's put
16
the
years.
shadow up here.
Getting that nose right is fun.
So I'm building up a shadow shape right here. And the thing is, whoa, I'm just gonna come under the nose a little bit. Look at that shape. So you're finding shapes. You may not see the shape quite the way I do or combine it quite the way I do. It will still work. As long as you don't make like an anti-shape that goes in a really strange direction. So I've got a nice little shadow down there. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to mention, does anybody have a scrap watercolor paper out? Just a little
I do.
chunk of scrap of something? I just now thought of this. This is something I wanted to show or try to show because I had some people that yesterday, a couple of people that were pretty experienced with watercolor that were having trouble. And, you know, because anytime I switch brushes on you and you haven't used a certain brush in a while, sometimes you kind of forget how to work with them. Sometimes I do too. So the thing is how much water is on this brush now because this is a round. So one of the things I do is I rake it off that way and I push down right here. So the belly of the brush is pushed down. So that takes a lot of extra water out of it right then. And then I don't know how this is going to act, so I'm careful. Well, I still got a lot of water rushing out of that brush, and I'm paying attention to that. So maybe I've got more rushing out than I want. So I'm going to bleed a little more water out of the belly, like that. The bigger the brush, the more water it's going to be holding in the belly. That's one of the advantages of a small brush is that you have a little bit more control. So there I've got a soft edge everywhere that I needed it. So all I'm saying is pay attention to that because I had I had 2 people yesterday that were going in now, they're trying to blend and they're blending with too much water and then they're trying to fix it and they're still got the water on their brush. So now they're doing a lot of this, you know, and everything just gets away from them.
I do that.
So that's, and when I walk along and I see somebody doing a lot of that, that generally means that either they're ahead of things and so they just want to keep their hand moving. That happens with some people. I won't mention who that is.
Oh, we're trying to blend it.
Or they're trying to blend out and fix something that got away from them. But you got to remember how much water is in your brush and really think about that. So as you're working on this face, you're really wanting to pay attention to those places. You can keep the artwork there.
Will you initial?
I'll be happy to. So then we're just looking for places that have darks. Right here's one of them. There's this gap here, which there's skin behind that. So there's that gap, but then, oh look at the shape here. You could draw it out with your pencil if you wanted to, or not. But it goes like that. Sometimes you might want to keep this as a hard edge. Sometimes you might want to soften the edge. Or the safest thing, if you can't make up your mind, is to soften part of the edges. Oh, by the way, there's a little drip here on my brush, and that could very well roll down and undo things. So watch out for that too. So maybe I'll just soften part of that edge. The other thing is that you might want to keep an eye on it for a few seconds and see if it's really behaving. You do not want to get in production mode, you know, and start being too efficient and just going along and putting a bunch of lines and then come back and softening them. Oh, look at that. That looks bad right here. That's my work in front of you. So I've got a brush, again, a little bit of water, and I'm just playing with that edge and trying to tease a little bit of it out and not having much success. It's a little too late. Well, how about that? See? So, don't do what I did. Watch, keep an eye on it, okay? So you can get in between all of these fingers, but here's what you want. You do not want to start thinking of these fingers as, oh, there's a line, you know, like that. You're looking for a place where you can make the line, you know what I'm thinking about, the line, where you can make the line a little thicker and a little thinner in some places, you know, change it up a little bit. Oh, there's a little bit of a shadow coming across the knuckle. Now I've got a shape like that. Well, that's not going to look right like that. So I know that I need to soften the edges on some of this for sure. So I've softened the whole edge. So now I've got a hard edge line where the finger goes behind the other finger, and I've got a soft edge line.
I'm sorry, I'm just borrowing the.
Okay.
I could use a little bit of shadow behind this knuckle. When you dry this brush off with your Viva paper towel, I hear snickering. Okay. With your Viva paper towel, I want you to also pay attention that you're only touching the belly of the brush, not the tip of the brush. Because I see a lot of people do that, and then it's too dry, right? And then it's not working. So you have to be really thoughtful of each of these things. And the thing is that once you've done that for a while and you've been thoughtful, then you get to where you don't have to think about it. But at first you do, and I think some of you haven't done that, or not recently. So this finger, it gets wider down here at the other end of the finger, of the little finger. And having those differences, those make it look like a hand. If you just come along, and I see hands done like, let me see your paper. More artwork. I see this happen all the time. Fingers, you know, here you've got fingers, and you wind up with something like that, you know, because the line is the same thickness all the way down. I don't want to see any same size lines. They need to shift, okay? If it doesn't look like it shifts to you, keep looking till you find an excuse to shift it. If you're like me and you're looking for an excuse to spend money, you can usually find one. Now find an excuse to shift the thickness. So I would say start your spaghetti, and you could also maybe at this point come back and put a few areas, just a few blobs in here that are a little darker than some of the other places, but not real dark. Okay? So you could do a little bit of that, and then work on your skin and start out with the hand, and then move to the face and see where you need to put more shaping in on the face. Oh, all this in here's got a shadow a bunch more than what I've got. So look for those. Well, here's the other place you could do. I could leave her nose like that, but she actually has a, oh dear, I should have used lighter paint. She actually has a place along here so that you get a little highlight. Now, my problem is I've got a darker paint mixture, so I'm going to blot it so that I've lightened it some. So that gives you that little highlight along the nose, for instance.
I got a big highlight.
There's a highlight here that's a
Good
little
Jewish
stronger,
nose.
and I didn't really make that work. I could also get this area. Here's the thing, I don't want to carry this too far. I start going into portraiture mode without thinking about it, and we don't need to do that today. But let's get a little bit more color in the nostril too while we're at it. Well, see, now she's got a clown nose. She's got a little red blob painted on it. So, and I'm going to turn this around so that I can have the heel of my hand down so that I can really control what I'm doing. And in doing that, I'm also really controlling the amount of water or paint that's moving around, because that downward pressure, one way or the other, can get away from you. So if you've got the heel of your hand down, you've got some control. If I get a little too much color, I'll just dry the brush off and pull a little color up. All right, so go forth and work on those things. Okay, one of the things I did was I went ahead and put some more darks in, and I did it by adding just rose. Just rose, yeah. So I'm just going to do a spot here. Okay, so I wanted to get a shadow there, and yeah, I'm doing it the same way. I'm just doing it with this brush because it's a little larger. The main reason I'm doing this, I wanted you to see that I did pull in some more darks, and I did do it with the rose. So I've got places here in the skin, so you can see here on the face. You know, another place that might help would be if the nose was a little redder. One of the things I wanted to explain is when you look at watercolor paintings, frequently you will see very red features on white people. The reason being that watercolor, despite the way they bill it, watercolor is actually a duller medium because it's matte. And so the red helps make up the difference because skin can get really dull. Well, I feel the way around that, if you want natural looking skin, and I'm really liking this one the way it is, but I'm going to mess it up for y'all. So,
You say you like it, would you leave it like that?
I would leave this one like that, or I might tone it down just a little bit. All right, so, and that's what I'm going to try to do here, is just a little bit. So the way I do it, it's got to be perfectly dry. Now this is not mixed color together, but rather it's layers of pure or almost pure color together. Layered, I mean. All right, so now I've got some white in here. And I'm going to take a little bit of a blue, and it almost doesn't matter what blue it is, it just shouldn't be a dull one. Because by the time you add them to white, if I use an ultramarine, which is more red than a cerulean, but by the time you add them to white, they look the same. Because the white sort of neutralizes them. So I've got something like that.
You just said ultramarine or cerulean.
Or
would look the
cerulean,
same.
either one would actually get me about the same color once I mixed it into the
Okay,
white.
Does the white cancel out?
Yeah, the white does, because it kind of neutralizes it. Yeah.
And it
And they
cancels
look
out
about
the
the same.
granulation that
If you got
cerulean has.
cerulean will have granulation, but once you've got it mixed in with white kills all of your
That white ink.
the white ink, because it kills all of your granulation pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, if you want something to granulate, never put white in it. Or a gouache of any kind, because it's I don't know what's in it, but it's different. So now I'm making it really thin. A lot of water, just a touch of paint. Okay, so let's just try it here on the neck. And usually I paint these things really, really red, but I didn't on this. I made it modified in a way that's usable. So I come in with the blue, and it only takes just the tiniest bit of it, and it will kind of calm it down. You could also do this with a green, a blue-green.
Phthalo green.
Yeah, phthalo green, again with white. I also will use phthalo green pure sometimes, but it just depends on the situation. But this is the safe, more natural looking way. So I'm just putting that tiny bit of blue and cancel some of the pizzazz out of it, I'll have to say. But the other thing that it will do is that it just modifies it. If I put enough on here, it will start looking really like a skin color. What I really want here is not very much because I'm liking the red. Can y'all see how that softened it compared to this up here? Now the other thing is that a lot of areas of the neck are cooler, just like the forehead's cooler. And so because of that, you might want just a little bit more blue. So I could put, well, the forehead, there's not much forehead here, is there? But I could put this forehead did not need modifying in that it was already, you know, pretty good. But I could modify the forehead overall just to get it, again, cooler. I can also use this wash, you know, down here just to cool the neck a little bit. Like I said, this is your safe way. Now there's another way to add blue, which is not quite so safe. But see, that just gives me a nice quiet thing. If I want to make an area darker and I want to cool it, see, this was to keep the value pretty near the same. If I want to make an area darker and I want to cool it, let's just take that cerulean. Now, you can, if you're really into portraits, you can get a blue that won't granulate that you could use. One of them is Indanthrone blue, but we're not doing that, and I don't even bother with Indanthrone anymore. But let's say now that I want an area to get darker. If I use that blue on this peachy orange, it will go a whole lot darker. That's one of the reasons I've got white in it when I'm toning it down. So let's say up here, I didn't dry that, but it's pretty dry. So as soon as I come in here with a blue, let's use a whole lot less. Let me wash that back. I can make darks that way. That's one of the reasons I'm real cautious about using blue, is that it can bury you into a dark that you don't like in a hurry. But sometimes you might want it. That's got a lot of pink under it, so it's going to look a little purpley. If I had an orangier spot like that, and it was darker, and I'm going to, oh, well, wait a minute, we can dull it down. We can dull it down, I just won't get dark with it. So
is that just in portraits?
that's just anytime you want to make a red go quiet, you could do that. But I've used it primarily for skin effects. So see, that will dull it, and it'll make it recede a little bit, and it's darkened it a little bit. So those are ways to use blue. Now, most of you do not have enough red on yours that you want to do it, and a whole lot of you didn't know that this was coming, and so you couldn't help yourselves but to already make the skin a little more skin-like. Next time we do something like this, I'm going to push the pink at you, and you'll know why. Okay. And like I said, I didn't get this as pink as I normally work, because I kind of went into that safe place too. But anyway, that's what I do with that normally, and it works really well for me normally.
I
And
remember you doing some
Huh?
portrait class with phthalo green and shocking. I mean, scared us to death.
Just
to
get-
put that
yeah.
on.
I
It was
ended up
amazing.
not
I
liking
love
phthalo
phthalo green on it.
it just dirties it up to me.
If, and this is the thing, yes, if you use phthalo green, the blue shade, and you use it very, very thin, the thing is that phthalo is such a bright transparent that you can get by with it because of its brightness. If it wasn't really bright, that wouldn't work. Yeah, so
And if you use too much, it overpowers it.
it's real easy to overpower.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I had to show on that. And then you can see here, I put this little thing in. Now, Sandy went in and, I don't remember what Sandy had, but it seemed like it was greenish.
Yeah.
Over there. So, and I could use some green in this picture, quite frankly, or something. It's just a little too, whatever. I don't know that it's going to work very well with just, okay, here's a greenish gray. And the reason is because I made it with raw sienna. Oh, that's a little too, well, okay, I'm hurrying too much. Let's get a little Quinn Gold in here, jazz it up. That's kind of a greeny gray. So I would like to be looking at hers as I did this because she just did some magical things. But the point is to have, I don't know if this is make
Parsley.
shadows on the spaghetti or what, but see how I'm adding water to those blobs now.
Parsley.
Oh yes, parsley.
Parsley, your-
It could be a parsley or
Pasta.
Pesto.
yeah, yeah. So you could see, give it a little something else. You could also make a few lines in there if you wanted to. Maybe she did that. I don't remember, but it would be her thing to do that. So you just pull in a line or two, you know. So this confusion says spaghetti without your making spaghetti, because one of the most beautiful paintings I ever saw was spaghetti, and they painted every noodle. But it was a gorgeous piece. But you either do that and do it well, or you suggest it. But if you just start outlining these things, they will just look. It's just bad, really bad. Huh?
I forgot pencil marks.
Yeah, you've got pencil marks, but you've got enough color around it that it's kind of killing the pencil marks.
Now,
Okay, you can stop.
okay,